Are you ready?
Hey guys, welcome to the Degenerate Sessions on YouTube, being the elite on Instagram. You can follow Sock Monkey Mike on Instagram. He is our guest today. I am extremely happy to have him. He's become a good friend of mine in the wrestling world. Very knowledgeable, very exciting, awesome guy, does interviews, amazing at them, and I'm looking forward to this interview, so let's jump right into it. How are you, Mike?
You know what? Everything is going good, my friend. I mean, it's of course the world is changing as we know every single day, and I'm trying my best to look at the positives of everything. It's kind of with just anything in general, it's kind of hard to even put positivity in a lot of things, but I'm just looking at the positives right now. So
That's what we have to do, right? 2020 has been one of the hardest years, if not the hardest year that we've had to go through. So we'll get there, though, right? We got to look at positives. People will be people. There's a lot of haters out there, and people. I don't like to get into it because I'm a positive guy, and I support everybody in the right way, as do you. And yeah, like you said, we just got to stay positive. So let's jump right into it. Where are you from? Let the fans know. And we'll go from there. Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
all right. So originally, I am from the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful state of California. I live in the hometown of Ontario, California, at the moment. It's kind of the center of the Inland Empire, which is called over here, which is major cities like San Bernardino, Fontana, Colton, I believe that's another one. It's just like a multiple cities, and that's what we call the Inland Empire. And what I do, well, see, good thing you asked that question, because there's a lot of things that this individual does, and I'm not saying that as a gimmick. I'm saying that as for real. I am the host of War Games, which is the weekly review show, the greatest review show of NXT and AEW ever. And not only that, I'm basically just a regular guy who loves professional wrestling. I mean, I've been told that I was like, man, you're a YouTuber, man. You're so high up there, man. And I'm like, listen, man, I'm just a guy that loves professional wrestling and sports. That's literally all I am. I just post on Instagram, on YouTube, Twitter, whatever the case may be, something that I like. And I'm like, hey, you should check this out. It's nothing for clout. It's nothing for exposure. It's literally, that's how I am. And I'm glad that I made friends over time, because I've been on Instagram since 2013 or 2014, ever since this app had started. And it's cool to see how much friends that I've made through Instagram, through Twitter, through social media. I mean, I met Priscilla. I met Jay, who you've seen on here a lot of the times. And even professional wrestlers. Like, who would have thought that I would have became great friends with Drew Gulak, my favorite wrestler ever? Like, huh? So, it's crazy. And we met, each other through here. So it's kind of, it's crazy, man. It's a crazy world, but I'm kind of glad that I was able to, meet the people that I'm meeting right now, and get the opportunities that I've been getting.
Well, you definitely deserve them. Like you said, we met on here. It's definitely a positive thing. We love wrestling. We're big fans. We're both trying to come up. And I feel it's working, and nothing but positivity. So where did you come up with War Games? How did you get that idea? And what pushed you to go further with it?
So War Games I came up with the idea, oh my goodness. I've always had an idea of a review show. So I don't know if you know the Wrestling Classic, Justin and the Wrestling Classic, by the way, shout out to them. Shameless plug right there. I wrote reviews for him under the alias of Captain Charisma for the Wrestling Classic website for SmackDown. Ever since SmackDown Live came about in 2016, I want to say, I wasn't the best writer out there, but I mean, I definitely, he gave me the opportunity to give me a platform that I've absolutely loved. I love writing, and I was a sports editor for my high school, for all 4 years of high school, and I wrote sports stories. I wrote, WWE stories, but I also wrote football, basketball, baseball, women's basketball, softball. There's countless sports that I wrote, and I was lucky enough that Justin gave me that opportunity. He's like, hey, do you want to review SmackDown? And I'm like, absolutely. it was awesome to, review and actually, okay, so SmackDown Live didn't do great this week. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Or it was the greatest show ever. Why? I'm not saying it because it was my hometown that night, but there was actual story behind it, you know. So it was just one of those things where, I was like, I miss that. I miss reviewing. Like stuff like SmackDown, or I think I reviewed once a pay-per-view.
Okay.
So I miss stuff like that. So that's when War Games came about. War Games, the name, I'll be totally honest, I just came up with that on the spot. I maybe got inspired by NXT. Who knows? But I'm just kidding. Yeah, I definitely got inspired by them. But, ever since this quarantine had happened, I was like, you know what? This should be the time that everybody should be putting out content. This is the time that everybody should be putting out material that they love and, showcasing it to a lot of people. So that's when War Games came about. In May I started. I know I'm a little bit late, but it took me 2 months to, figure out what I was going to do. And here on this phone, I record every single episode. I don't have any fancy camera. I don't have any fancy stuff. I just have I have a great editor over the episodes that I've had a pleasure working with. One is by the name, you guys should check him out as well, SHVMBU on Instagram and Twitter. Definitely a great guy that's been doing the recent episodes. My friend Juliet has been doing them. My friend Mike Contreras, who has been doing them as well. And it's been awesome. And the guests, dude, I did not expect having guests on this, because the idea of having the guests on there would be from not only my perspective, but from the other wrestling fans' perspectives. I mean, of course, you were on there. Of course, you were on there, as well as, people like Muscle Man Malcolm, Kayla, aka Miss WWE Fan 13, Priscilla, and then it's honestly, it's great getting different perspectives from different people. And because, we don't think of Wednesday nights as something to be like, man, so did you think that NXT won over AEW? Like, we think that, but we don't think that at the same time. I think it's more when we think of Wednesdays, what do we think of? We think of professional wrestling. We think that two episodes of wrestling are happening simultaneously. Sure, they're not the old professional wrestling in front of a crowd that we're used to, but at least it's, storylines. Like, who would have thought that Brody Lee was the Exalted One? Everybody was thinking Matt Hardy. So,
it kind of leaked a bit. I kind of figured, because I wanted that. I'll be honest with you, not to cut you off. Sorry. I wanted that, but Brody fit it. He needed his push. He needed his own time. It definitely did. So how do you grow your audience on YouTube for people trying to grow their social media? You've been growing it. And how would you grow it on YouTube?
So, again, great question. Love it. I honestly think, and this is a great question because I've been asked this a lot, for years, that when I started YouTube and I started Instagram and Twitter, it takes time. I started all this in my Twitter 2014, my Instagram, I think 2013, and then my YouTube I've had since I was little. So, it just takes time. There's no start and end date to what you want to achieve, because it's just one of those things where, as long as you love putting out what you want to put out. Like, if you want to do wrestling reviews on NXT and not War Games, I'm sorry, NXT and AEW, then do it. If you want to do if you want to talk about why SmackDown sucked this week, do it. If you want to talk about why Johnny Gargano is the greatest professional wrestler of all time, which he is, talk about it. So, but my point is that, don't be afraid to do what you love, because you are growing that audience. The right people are watching, even if it's 1 view, 10 views, 1 million views, the right people are going to be watching, and then that's when your audience will grow. Same thing with Instagram. Like, my Instagram, trust me, dude, it is not at all a structured platform. It's not anything like, okay, so at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to post something from Being the Elite. Yeah. I think that they need to be highlighted at this time and this time. Yeah. Like, no. Like, for example, today's Father's Day. So I'm going to be posting, after this interview, I'm going to be posting 2 people that have been father figures in my opinion. Like, it's from my grandfather, who passed away in 2015, and then my uncle, who has been there since the beginning. And it's stuff like that. Again, just a regular guy, not saying like, oh, well, I think that Luke Harper is my father because he looks exactly like my father, which he kind of does. But but yeah, so that's just, again, it's just something that you have to be comfortable with, of posting what you want to post. Of course, you, for example, I mean, you post TikToks on your Instagram of Matt Jackson saying that he wants to do a show in Rosita. Oh, but we're in quarantine, says Brandon Cutler. Well, okay, and then boom, there you go. Like you have to be comfortable. You have to be confident. You have to be happy with what you put out. I know people that's put out content like one of those. I'll plug again. Her name is Taylor Glenn, who does juggling, professional juggling. And she does that, and she's grown a community upon that. And not only upon jugglers, but to people that are not necessarily familiar with juggling. So again, it opens up the avenue to what you want to do. So that's my advice on growing a YouTube or growing a Twitter, Instagram, or any type of social media, is that it just takes time. You just have to be confident with it. The right people will watch, and the right people will help you grow.
Yeah, you gotta ignore the haters. There's always going to be people out there trying to bring people down. We see it every day. To me, Twitter is toxic, and I stopped going on there. I go on there just to get some pictures of the elite and stuff like that. Yeah, I just ruined it. I do get my pictures off Twitter, a lot of them. Matt does send me stuff, but I don't like negativity. I'm more of a positive guy. Does it affect me? No, like you were saying. So yeah, guys, try it. Try whatever you want to try. I just posted a TikTok of me, Macho Man, and my dad, Mean Gene, and it's I don't care how we look. It's funny to me, and you gotta be comfortable, right? You don't care what people think. Be yourself, and that's how it goes, right? So why'd you do NXT and AEW? I know they're on the same night, but there's so many other wrestling shows out there. Unless you do have stuff coming up, I don't want no spoilers. But why'd you pick AEW and NXT? Is it because they're on the same night? Let's go into detail on that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely one of the reasons, because they're not only on the same night, but you look at, think about this. So what other show, especially now, is so hot right now in professional wrestling? Obviously I could have done Raw, right? We could have done Raw, but then Raw, it's not necessarily has the same audience that watches consistently, especially now. I mean, of course, we all have the time in the world to watch wrestling now, but it doesn't necessarily have that audience. Like, I think I read something from Brian Alvarez saying that their viewership was almost 1 million. Compared to when it had crowds and all that, there was 4 million, 10, 5 million, whatever the case may be. But now it's at its lowest point. So it really you have to target that audience. It's okay, so if I review Raw, only maybe about 12 people are going to watch. If I do SmackDown, I mean, it's a little bit better. I mean, they've definitely grown better over time.
Yeah.
But again, even when they did have crowds on Fox, they weren't the best at gaining those viewerships, sadly. Even though it's on a big platform known as Fox Sports, it's still in its early stages, which I do understand, of its viewership. So, again, it takes time, especially now. I think they've gotten better. But again, it's not the target audience that I want. They've been, I think, the same thing, about 1 million or maybe a little bit less. And then there's NXT and AEW, 2 shows that are on at the same time. Sadly, over here, we don't get it at the exact same time on my cable television, because NXT on USA starts at 5 over here, which is 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then AEW airs at 8 o'clock at night, which sucks, because I would have to put on my TNT app, and then I would have to watch, AEW on the TV, and then, on the computer, and then NXT on the TV, and I'm just okay, which one do I watch? And especially that's how it was in the beginning of October too. I mean, you have, the premiere of NXT on USA. Absolutely great show. You had Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole for the NXT title. But AEW didn't do that bad as well, especially in front of a live audience. And I believe it was Washington, D.C., if I want to make sure I'm correct for the first one. But, but the point is that those 2 shows are hot right now. And the fact of the matter is that reviewing those 2 shows, giving my top 3 moments from each show, and trying to do my best to break it down and explain why they're my favorite moments, and not try to be too biased, different. I understand back in the day, WCW seemed that way, but in the end, we kind of knew that WCW was going backwards while WWF at the time was going forwards. Yeah. So it's that's why I picked WC. Why did I say WCW? That's why I picked NXT and AEW. So yeah,
that's awesome. Well, you're right. They're both incredible, different, and I don't know how people pick. I'll be honest with you. NXT is just as good as AEW. People, they go off like the show, the ratings. Well, for one, Canada, we don't get NXT. Right. So viewership right there, you lost. We only get AEW, so they get all of us. But both are incredible, and I think it's amazing you're doing a show. I love your show. I do watch the episode. You probably don't know this. War Games was one of my favorite pay-per-views, and I'm not just talking NXT. I loved War Games in WCW. I thought it was incredible. So I'm hooked to your show. I'll be honest. It's an amazing idea. I'll be honest. I'm not just writing you here. It's incredible that we can actually say we have two companies going head to head, and the idea of the show being called War Games because it's the two companies. I love it, and I'm looking forward to more and more episodes, and I love the content you put out on it. So it's incredible. Where'd you come up with getting the guests? So I know you get a couple guests to help you review, and where did that idea come from?
I'll be honest, dude. It was just asking. It was just honestly asking my friends. Like I believe the first guest I had ever was they were friends of mine. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that just simply asking is all you can do. Whether that's through an email, whether that's through Instagram DMs, Twitter DMs, Messenger on Facebook, whatever the case may be, or even through a text message if you have their number. And it's awesome to say the least. Like when I asked you, for example, it was like, hey man, I have something cool. You are free to be a guest if you want to. And then I'm kind of surprised that you're like, hell yeah, I want to be on there.
100%, man. I love that show, and I love the name of it. I'm not just writing this. So when you asked me, I was ecstatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And especially with these episodes coming up, I'm very excited to announce episode 10, which I'm dubbing as the greatest episode ever. Not dubbing it as the greatest wrestling match ever, huh? So I'm excited.
Any spoilers?
Ooh, should I ever spoil anything on here? Nah, I'll wait. But you guys, if you guys follow me on Instagram, then you have seen the thumbnail for it. It's literally just like how Randy and Edge had it. So it's cool. I had my graphic designer do that for me, and I appreciate him for doing it. Sadly, he's not on Instagram anymore, so I can't plug his stuff. So, but yeah.
So you're doing interviews now. You're also doing interviews. Name me someone you want to interview. One of your dream people.
Oh my god. The first person that pops up in my mind, he's not wrestling related at all, and I think I mentioned him in this interview already. His name is Vince Scully. That's my hero. For those who don't know, Vince Scully is a world famous sports broadcaster that was doing commentary for the Dodgers ever since 1950. And it's crazy to think, dude. I mean, he started off as a 22 or 21-year-old kid in a commentary booth for the Brooklyn Dodgers, and then he followed the Dodgers from Brooklyn all the way to Los Angeles in 1970, I want to say, or 1980. And it's crazy to think how, he was still going strong all the way until 2016 when he retired, over a 60-year career, and it's absolutely amazing to witness his career, especially throughout all my life, because that's who was commentary when I was, growing up, born in 1999, and then growing up, just hearing Dodger games, ever since I was 11 years old. This is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, because it was a job. It was not only a job, it was a career. It was something that you would go into every single day and say, you know what, I love it. Sure, we're going to have struggles. Sure, we're going to have, nothing's unicorns and rainbows. We all know that. But, it's something that it could take your mind off of reality. That's what professional wrestling is. That's what sports is to me in general. It's an escape. Whether you have opinions about a certain wrestler saying comments, or whether you have, a controversy that happened on AEW or NXT, at the end of the day, it's still our escape from reality. And that's what I love about Vince Scully, is that he told a story. He told a story within each and every game. And I would love to interview him and get his kind of pick his brain throughout all of his years. I mean, he's like, I believe he's 80 years old, if I'm not mistaken. 80, close, definitely double digits up there. But it would be awesome to like pick his brain and just, kind of say thank you for making people like me inspired. And of course, there's like thousands and millions of people that want to do probably the same thing. But to me, that's what fueled the passion. I mean, I've wanted to do this ever since I was 11 years old. I told my mom, I was like, you know what? I don't want to become a dentist anymore, like Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I don't want to do that, because that's what I said when I was in preschool. I actually want to do something that, I enjoy doing every single day. And, ever since I was in middle school, and I was like, I got to do this. And then high school, I was sports editor for my high school paper, for all 4 years of high school. And, as soon as I went to community college, I started calling games for the sports, which I thought was absolutely dope. And I was like, huh?
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy to think, man, but he definitely, if you guys want to look him up, it's absolutely crazy to think that he was going strong for 60 plus years.
That's crazy. That is crazy. I don't know who he is, but I'm from Toronto, so
I know.
I don't know who he is, but I'm definitely gonna look him up after this interview. I'm definitely gonna look him up. So, what? Name me a wrestler you want, future wrestler. Anyone.
Oh man, if I have the opportunity and WWE does not barrier that from me, of course, 100%, I'm gonna say Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak is, like I mentioned before, he's a good friend of mine. Again, I never expected my favorite wrestler to be good friends with me, so it's like, okay. So I would love to pick his brain a bit, because he understands the world of professional wrestling a little bit differently, and it's not just the super kicks and it's not just the high flying moves and stuff like that. He's talking from a technical standpoint. Like, if you think of technical wrestling, who do you think of? You think of you think of Daniel Bryan, you think of, all of these different people. Andrew Gulak is one of them. I mean, he even had a match. Get this. He had a match with Daniel Bryan over last year, I believe, or earlier this year.
Okay.
Technical wrestling, 100%. Like, you thought the greatest match ever between Orton and Edge was great. Definitely check out that match. I want to say it was from Elimination Chamber this year. I think so, yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah, sadly he did not get the victory, but I mean, some matches I think are better when the person that you want to go for doesn't win. I mean, that's the same thing when I say that Johnny Gargano versus Andrade at TakeOver Philadelphia, the greatest TakeOver match of all time, and you cannot tell me otherwise. I think Bayley and Sasha Banks at TakeOver Brooklyn was a close second, but Johnny Gargano didn't get the win, but wow, you gotta I can't go on too much about that match. You gotta go watch that if you guys get the chance.
I watched it way back when it happened.
Yeah, so but like I mentioned before, Drew Gulak, if I could interview him and we would just have a conversation, that would be absolutely amazing.
So tell us any future projects you have coming up. No spoilers. Whatever you can spoil, that'd be awesome.
Right.
Interviews, anything going on, little things, big things, everything matters, right? So,
well, you know what? I guess I'll spoil this. So for the next episode of War Games, it's already been spoiled. My next guests are going to be Undisputed Brotherhood, who's a wrestling YouTuber. His name is Tanner, and he's a great person to know. Same thing with Brandon Dillon, who's also known on professional wrestling, the YouTube scene. He was originally known as the Casual Mark, but now he's up there now, so he doesn't want to get in the glory of being on a show. But other than that, it's cool. And then I won't spoil who does the shout out for the beginning of the episode, because let's just say that there's some controversy with him, but let's just say he made his SmackDown debut recently. And yeah, so I'm very excited about that as well. Episode 10 of War Games is something I'm going to be very proud of. It's going to be the greatest. Huh?
How do you get these guys?
I'm not revealing that. Anyways, but yeah, and of course,
don't forget your buddy over here.
Oh no, I won't. And the greatest wrestling episode ever, or the greatest wrestling episode? No, the greatest episode ever. Episode 10, I'm very going to be proud of. It's actually going to be happening on a certain person's birthday, which is going to be Muscle Man Malcolm, as you guys know. So maybe I'll try to get him on there, but I already have it confirmed couple people, which I'm not going to tell you who. So I'm very excited about everything coming up. Oh, and before anything else, I do have a secret project going around. It's a cinematic wrestling match over here at my local wrestling promotion, which I'm excited to share with you guys when the time is right. And yeah.
That is awesome. That is amazing. So before I let you go, any plans today? What are you guys doing for Father's Day?
For Father's Day, most likely than not, I'm probably going to go to the cemetery and give my grandfather some flowers. I was planning on making my uncle a card, which I hope that still pulls through. And then, probably make that post, man. Make that post on Instagram and probably Facebook as well, giving my thanks and telling them how much they've inspired me to, from the manhood, perspective. And yeah, that's pretty much my day. I was thinking of getting a haircut for the Wednesday gig, which is going to be the cinematic wrestling match. But then I'm like, I think I'm going to wait till Tuesday. The day
with the hair growing in. People make fun of my hair all the time, man. I don't care. But I like it with the hair growing in. I don't like it too shaved. I don't know. That's just my opinion on like anybody. I'm not just saying you. Sometimes when it's too shaved, I don't know. It for me, it's weird.
Yeah, no worries, man.
I don't know. That's why I try to grow it back mine anyways. So I want to thank you for taking your time to talk with me. Obviously, we're going to do this again. If you guys haven't checked out Sock Monkey Mike on Instagram, he is on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. He is an up-and-coming star in the interview world, coming up with shows. War Games is on YouTube. I love it. It's incredible. Make sure you check him out. I'll let him say goodbye to you before I say goodbye.
All right, well, I'm just going to be short and sweet. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. But you know what? Thank you so much, Dominic, for having me on here. It was actually surprising for you to interview me instead of the other way around. But, it's awesome. I love these interviews on Instagram Lives. I've seen you do a lot of professional wrestlers from Leroy to, I believe it was Alicia Atut, and just people like that, and Alyssa Marino. The names go on and on of people that you've interviewed, which I'm very happy and very proud to say that I'm a fan. And again, I support those who support me, and just it's awesome, man. I guess what I could say really quickly, since I'm running on, is don't let anything stop you. Don't let anything. You're doing great. What you're doing with this page and what you're doing with social media, getting the fans involved, is absolutely amazing. Making these friends over social media is cool. I strive on the same thing. I think that spreading positivity is the main thing, especially in today's time, where controversy is the name of the game nowadays. And just thank you for having me, man. I love talking. So.
I know you do, man. I love it. I appreciate it. Doesn't matter to me. I love interviewing, so I'll interview anybody. It doesn't matter. But having a guy like you that holds the passion and the experience last few years coming up, it means a lot to me as well, because I get to pick your brain. You have done a lot of projects. So I want to thank you. You've also helped me out with a lot of connections. And me and you can go on for on and on just thanking each other. But I do want to thank you today. Honestly, I hope you have a great day, man, and I appreciate everything. And we will talk soon, 100%. Follow Sock Monkey Mike on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You will not regret it. His show is incredible. War Games on YouTube. I am on episode 4, and we will see you later, guys. Have a great day, brother. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Dom Twos.